One stands the name of Carol Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Chairperson of the Transport and Industrial Relations Select Committee, how many submissions have been received on the Employment Relations Amendment Bill number 2?
David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee has received 295 submissions on the Employment Relations Amendment Bill number 2 and 7,554 form submissions.
Supplementary.
Carol Beaumont.
Thank you. To the Chairperson, is it the intention of the committee to express its regret to the submitter whose submission was rejected for being offensive?
Order. The member will resume his seat. Totally out of order. The chair of the committee can't predetermine what a committee may decide to do. So that's, I'm afraid, totally out of order. The point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I think this is not a matter of predetermination. The member asked, is it the committee's intention? If the committee has such an intention, he can report that.
The proceedings, as I understand it, this committee is not reported to the House. Its proceedings would be confidential.
But Mr Speaker...
Well, I take it the member's calling for the point of order.
But Mr Speaker, if, as I know is the case, the committee has determined on a matter of expression of regret and reports to the individual...
The member will resume his seat immediately. I've made it very clear that's one rule I insist on. Members must resume their seat. The member is now debating the issue, and he's actually in serious risk if he's telling the House what's gone on in a committee before the committee has reported to the House. The member should not be doing that. The member may be aware of something, but it's confidential to the committee, and he has no more right to inform the House of the deliberations of the committee than the chair has. Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, are you then saying that the chairman, on the agreement of the committee, cannot write a letter to someone expressing regret until the committee has reported? That would be a very new ruling. That's what the committee, I understand, has determined. And are you saying that that letter cannot go out and the committee chair would be breaching privilege if he did so?
That is the business of the committee, as I'd understand it, but it is not the business of this House at present. And as I order should be heard in silence. This House cannot deal with the matter until it's reported. The committee, of course, is at liberty to conduct its business and its affairs, but I have to distinguish between that and what is proper for this House to consider, and that's why I've ruled the question out.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard, because I mean, I think it is new, but my understanding is that a decision of a committee to report, in this case, in this particular case, to ask someone to resubmit, which involves a communication outside, it must involve a communication outside the committee, a further invitation to a submitter to make a submission to the committee. That can't possibly be privileged information to the committee, and therefore asking about the committee's intention to do that is in fact within standing orders. It is a request to an individual to make a resubmission. That must be something which is public. It's part of the chairman's responsibility to sign the letter, if nothing else, and to express regret on behalf of the committee. I can't see how that can possibly be done in a way that the chairman can't be asked about his responsibilities in this matter.
Listening to the member's points of order, there seems to me to be a slight inconsistency, because the member has said the committee's, and I've got to be careful here because I don't want to get involved in the business of the committee, but this is what I understood the member told me. The committee had made a decision and sent a letter. But then, in further speaking to the point of order, the member has spoken of an intention to send a letter. Now, either way, this is the business of the committee, and the chair is not responsible for the committee decision and cannot answer in this House for that committee decision until the matter is reported back. If a press statement has been released by the committee, that's been authorised by the committee, that's in the public. Indeed, the chair could be questioned about that, but not about the committee's intentions. And I just do have to be careful here. I'll undertake to the member that because it is important, if I've got it wrong in my ruling, I'll come back to the House. I'll come back to the House on the matter. But I don't believe I've got it wrong, but I'm perfectly happy to accept I am wrong, and if I am wrong, I'll come back to the House on the matter.
Speaker, given that,
the Honourable Trevor Mallard,
can I ask for the opportunity to rephrase the supplementary question?
No, I don't think that's fair for me to allow another member to rephrase a supplementary question on behalf of another member. Well, no, the standing orders don't provide for another member in the House to ask a supplementary question, as I understand it, to another member's question to a member. I realise that's getting a bit convoluted, but it's not been the practice. However, I gather the standing orders don't preclude it. So, given my ruling, I'll allow the Honourable Trevor Mallard to ask a supplementary question.
Should have asked it right from the start, Trevor. Who's there?
Order. I invite the Honourable Trevor Mallard to ask his supplementary question.
Has the chair of the committee written a letter, or signed a letter, or considered a letter inviting another submission on this bill and expressing regret?
The point of order, the Honourable John
Carter. You've just ruled that the committee, and it's always been the standing order, that the committee's business is its own until it reports to the Parliament. And whether a committee, as you've said, if it issues a press statement and makes a public statement, that's one thing. But if the business of the committee, or the chairman is carrying out the business of the committee while it's going through its deliberations and considerations, that is the matter for the business and not for the House. And we've been very careful over many years not to cross those lines. And I would suggest that that question is now asking the chairman of the committee about the business of the committee prior to it reporting to this Parliament. And if we go down that line, it starts meaning that then it may be that a submitter has come in made a submission in public before the committee, and then the House, before the committee's deliberated, could perhaps ask about that submission. And I'm not sure that that's where the Parliament wants to go, or the House needs to go, quite honestly. And I would ask, sir, that you reflect very carefully on your ruling in this regard, because it would mean that we may be opening up new ground.
Very briefly, I hear the Honourable Member.
And I agree with a lot of what the Honourable John Carter has said, but he did indicate that if the committee had issued a press statement inviting a further submission or submissions, that would be all right. My submission to you, Mr Speaker, is that there is no difference between issuing a press statement and writing a letter inviting a submission.
Let me rule on this matter, because I take it as a serious issue, and the points of order have been raised in good faith, and I appreciate that, because we do not want to politicise in this House the important Select Committee process. But the question, in fairness, didn't ask about a committee decision that is still confidential to the committee. It asked whether the chair had written to invite a further submission or something along those lines. Now, I'll invite David Bennett to answer the question insofar as whether he's written a letter, but not insofar as whether he's considered something, because I don't think that if he's written a letter that's been sent to someone out there, that is, as the member I think makes, as the Honourable Trevor Mallard has pointed out, that is not hugely different from issuing a press statement. It's a matter that is out in the public, in that a letter has been written to someone. So I invite David Bennett to respond to the question insofar as it covers whether or not he has written as chair to someone.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, I think you put the chairman of the committee in a dangerous position here, because the precedent and the House is built on the nature of the committee decisions and the work of the committee being in committee until it's reported back to the House. And if you're asking the chair about anything that may have gone on in the committee, then you're de facto asking the chair in this case to actually break that rule of thumb. So I'd be very reluctant to answer that question on the basis that it would create a precedent which would be in conflict with the traditional process of how committees operate.
Let me be very clear. If the Speaker rules the question in order, the member will answer it. There'd be no question about that. If the matter was a matter of a committee